Precious soul, this is not a coincidence. This is not a random click. April 5th has been marked in the heavens, and right now, as you are hearing these words, an emergency alert hath been released in the spirit realm. Archangel Michael is calling your name. Yes, your name, and this message will not remain available forever. It is urgent. It is time-sensitive, and it concerns something unfolding around you that you cannot afford to ignore. Listen carefully. There are moments in life when heaven whispers, and there are moments when heaven sounds an alarm. This is not a whisper. This is an emergency from heaven. April 5th carries a spiritual shift that many will miss because they are distracted. But you were pulled here for a reason. While others scroll past, something in your spirit said, "Stop." That was not curiosity. That was divine interception. Archangel Michael stands as a protector, a warrior of light, a defender against unseen battles. And right now, there is movement in the spiritual atmosphere around your home, your decisions, and your next step. Something has been quietly forming. A situation that looked harmless. A delay that seemed small. A conversation that felt ordinary. But behind it, there has been tension building in the unseen. This is why the message feels intense. Because time is involved. April 5th is not about fear, it is about awareness. Heaven does not send emergency messages to scare you. Heaven sends them to position you. And you are being positioned right now. There hath been confusion around you lately. Subtle, always unnoticeable confusion. Plans not aligning. People acting slightly different. A sense that something is off, but you could not explain it. That was your spirit sensing interference. Archangel Michael is stepping forward because the interference cannot continue. There is a decision you have been postponing. A truth you have been sensing. A boundary you know you must set. You thought you had more time. But heaven is saying, the window is narrowing. This message will not linger in your life indefinitely. Opportunities for divine alignment do not stay open forever. When heaven knocks, it expects a response. And here is the shocking revelation. Someone around you does not fully understand the spiritual gravity of what is about to shift. They are operating casually, unaware that April 5th is a turning point. But you are being awakened before the shift happens so you can stand prepared, not surprised. This is why your name is being called. Not their name. Not someone else's. Yours. Because you carry authority in your space. What you allow or disallow matters more than you realize. What you speak over your home matters. What you agree with spiritually matters. Archangel Michael is not appearing randomly in your awareness. When his presence is felt, it signals protection in motion. It signals that something attempted to gain ground but will not succeed. But there is something you must do. You must pay attention to the small signs today and tomorrow. Watch the patterns. Notice repeated word. Notice sudden clarity. Notice if someone reveals more than they intended. The hidden will not remain hidden much longer. And here is the deeper layer. April 5th marks the closing of a cycle that has been draining your energy. You have been carrying something emotionally that was never meant to stay this long. A responsibility. A silent stress. A weight you normalized. Heaven is interrupting that cycle. But interruption feels uncomfortable at first. When divine order restores itself, it can shake what was falsely stable. Do not panic if something shifts suddenly. Do not assume loss. Sometimes what leaves was blocking what was meant to arrive. Archangel Michael's call is not soft right now because hesitation would cost you clarity. The urgency is mercy. You might feel this in your chest. A heightened awareness. A sense that this is bigger than coincidence. That is because your spirit recognizes truth before your mind catches up. There is also protection being assigned over your dwelling. Speak peace over your home tonight. Speak protection aloud. Do not stay silent. Your voice carries spiritual authority. And one more thing, someone has been watching your progress quietly. Not in harm, but in observation. They will soon reveal their true intention. This revelation will surprise you, but it will also confirm what you have sensed for weeks. Nothing about this timing is random. April 5th is a pivot, a line in the sand, a divine interruption that prevents something from escalating further. Archangel Michael is calling your name because you are not meant to walk into this next season unaware. You are meant to walk in prepared, guarded, and strengthened. The message feels urgent because it is. Heaven does not delay when destiny is near, and something about your destiny just moved. Faithful warrior of light, what I am about to reveal will explain why the urgency feels so real in your spirit. The atmosphere around you had been shifting for weeks, but April 5th is the ignition point. Archangel Michael does not step forward loudly unless there is something strategic unfolding. This is not chaos. This is coordination from heaven. There has been a silent test happening around you. Not a test designed to break you, but a test designed to expose what has been hidden in plain sight. You may have noticed small tensions in conversations, slight resistance when you try to move forward, delays that do not make logical sense. These were not random inconveniences. They were indicators. Archangel Michael is calling your name because you are standing at a spiritual checkpoint. And checkpoints are not places of punishment. They are places of evaluation and protection. Something was attempting to attach itself to your next season. An energy, an agreement, or a distraction that would have slowed you down. But heaven intervened before it could take root. April 5th is marked because it represents a decision window. Not just a physical decision, but a spiritual alignment. What you agree with now will echo into the next few months of your life. That is why clarity is being forced to the surface. That is why conversations may feel intense. That is why your discernment has been sharper than usual. Archangel Michael's presence signals that a boundary must be reinforced. There is someone around you who operates with partial truth. They are not entirely false, but they are not entirely transparent. And this gray area has created confusion in your path. Heaven is dissolving the gray. You may feel a sudden boldness rising within you. Words you were afraid to say will now feel necessary. Silence will feel heavy. That is not aggression. That is alignment. Do not ignore the subtle warnings that come today. If your spirit feels unsettled about a situation, pause. If something feels rushed, step back. Urgency from heaven feels different than pressure from people. One brings clarity. The other brings anxiety. Learn to distinguish them. Archangel Michael is positioning you to move with confidence, not fear. But confidence requires awareness. There is a door that looks attractive, but it leads to delay. And there is another door that looks uncertain, but it leads to acceleration. The emergency message is about choosing correctly. This is why your name is being called right now. Because you have influence in the situation. Your response determines the outcome more than you realize. If you compromise your intuition now, you will feel the effects later. But if you stand firm, even if it feels uncomfortable, you will unlock momentum. April 5th is not about loss. It is about separation. Separation between what drains you and what builds you. Separation between who pretends and who is genuine. separation between old cycles and new authority. And here is something deeper. Someone who underestimated you is about to witness a shift they did not expect. They assumed you would remain passive. They assumed you would stay quiet. But heaven has activated your voice. Archangel Michael does not fight battles for those who refuse to stand. He fights alongside those who step forward. And you are being called to step forward now. If this message resonates, do not keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who has been feeling the same tension. Like this video so the message spreads further than algorithms expect. Comment what you are sensing in your spirit right now. Your engagement is not just support for a channel. It is participation in spreading divine awareness. Subscribe if you have not already, because what is unfolding is bigger than one moment. And if this word is aligning with your situation, consider joining the membership to stand consistently in this atmosphere of protection and clarity. There is a reason you are still listening. Hold on, because what is about to unfold next will connect the final pieces in a way you did not see coming. Chosen vessel, the intensity you have been feeling is not imagination. It is confirmation. April 5th is not simply a date on a calendar. It is a spiritual crossing point. And right now, Archangel Michael is standing at that crossing, ensuring that what is meant to pass through with you is pure, aligned, and ordained. Something has been circling your life quietly, not loudly, not dramatically, but persistently. A pattern, a recurring emotional trigger, a cycle that almost repeats itself every time you begin to advance. You have prayed about it. You have thought about it. You have tried to reason with it. Yet it kept returning in different forms. This is the emergency. Not because it is powerful, but because it had been subtle. Subtle delays. Subtle discouragement. Subtle redirection away from your highest calling. Archangel Michael's intervention signals that the cycle ends here. April 5th marks the expiration date of something that has overstayed its welcome in your life. And when expiration dates arrive, removal can feel abrupt. Do not mistake abruptness for harm. Sometimes swift action is divine mercy. There is also someone connected to this cycle. Not necessarily malicious, but misaligned. Their vision does not fully match your destiny. Their pace does not match your assignment. And while you tried to adjust yourself to maintain peace, heaven is now adjusting the structure itself. You may notice distance forming naturally. Conversations may shorten. Priorities may shift. Invitations may slow down. Do not chase what begins to drift. If it is meant to remain, it will stabilize. If it is meant to leave, let it go with dignity. Archangel Michael is guarding your forward movement. And forward movement requires space. April 5th is creating that space. You have been carrying responsibilities that were never assigned to you by heaven. You took them on out of loyalty, compassion, or fear of disappointing others. But heaven is saying, release what was never yours to carry. The emergency is not about danger. It is about divine realignment. There is also a revelation approaching. Within days of April 5th, something will become clear without you having to search for it. A truth will surface. A hidden motive will reveal itself. A misunderstanding will untangle. And when it does, you will realize that this entire season was preparation. Preparation for authority. Archangel Michael does not step into minor matters with urgency. When he calls your name, it is because your influence is increasing. The enemy of your peace recognized that before you did. That is why resistance appeared. That is why confusion tried to cloud your clarity. But confusion cannot survive exposure. April 5th brings exposure. You are not being warned to panic. You are being invited to stand tall, speak intentionally, pray specifically, guard your energy. Do not overshare your plans in this window. Not everyone celebrating you is meant to strategize with you. There is a recalibration happening in your inner circle. Watch who supports you quietly. Watch who questions your growth. Watch who becomes distant when you choose alignment over comfort. These observations are not to create suspicion. They are to create wisdom. Archangel Michael is reinforcing your discernment. You will begin to sense truth faster. You will detect inconsistency quicker. Trust that sharpening. It is protection. And here is the deeper layer of this emergency. Your next elevation requires a lighter spirit. You cannot carry unresolved attachments into the place you are going. Heaven is pruning before promotion. If something feels like it is being taken away, ask yourself honestly, was it building me or draining me? The answer will guide your response. Echo fifth is not destruction, is distinction. It separates what is temporary from what is eternal in your life. It separates noise from assignment. It separates comfort from calling. Archangel Michael is calling your name because you are being entrusted with more. And more requires clarity. Tonight, speak aloud. I align with heaven's timing. I release what is expired. I receive what is ordained. Speak it with authority. Your voice activates spiritual boundaries. You were not meant to stumble into your next season unaware. You were meant to cross into it guarded and guided. Type "I step into alignment" in the comments if this message is confirming what you have been sensing. Blessing code 4599 has just been released over your life. And as this alignment settles in your spirit, understand this. When you sow into the spread of truth, you become part of heaven's rescue mission for others who are still trapped in confusion. The word says, "Cast your bread upon the waters, and it will return to you." This is not ancient poetry. This is God speaking directly into your present moment. When you release support through super thanks, membership, or even through the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are igniting light in someone else's darkness. Hear this in your spirit. I am moving in obedience right now. Your action becomes a seed, and seeds never die without producing harvest. As you give, you declare that urgency from heaven must reach every corner. You become a river, not a reservoir. And rivers never run dry. This is a prophetic moment. Do not hesitate when your spirit feels prompted. Those who build the altar also receive the fire. As you support this mission, may protection increase around your home, may clarity sharpen in your decisions, and may open doors locate you swiftly. Act now, so boldly. Stand with the mission, and let heaven multiply what you release. Brave heart. Something shifted the moment you agreed internally with what heaven is doing. You may not have seen fireworks. You may not have heard thunder. But in the unseen realm, a line was drawn. April 5th was not only a warning, it was a declaration that your path will no longer be casually interfered with. Archangel Michael stands where spiritual resistance once tried to linger, and what once felt like pressure will now begin to feel like release. But before full release manifests, there is one more unveiling that must take place. You have been under observation, not in a negative sense, but in a spiritual sense. Your endurance has been tested quietly. Your reactions have been noted. The way you handled betrayal, delay, and misunderstanding did not go unseen. Heaven measures maturity differently than people do. Where others saw weakness, heaven saw restraint. Where others saw silence, heaven saw discipline. Echo 5th activated a reward sequence. However, before reward comes revelation. Here is a conversation approaching that will clarify everything. It may not look dramatic. It may not even seem deeply spiritual on the surface. But pay attention to the tone, the timing, and the transparency. What is spoken will carry layered meaning. Archangel Michael is ensuring that deception cannot stand in proximity to your next level. And sometimes deception is not blatant lies. Sometimes it is omission, partial truths, strategic silence, vague commitments. These subtle forms of instability cannot travel where you are going. You may begin to notice that certain people feel uncomfortable around your growing clarity. That is not your responsibility to fix. When your light intensifies, it naturally exposes what others preferred to keep hidden. Exposure creates discomfort for those who are not ready to be honest. Do not dim yourself to maintain false harmony. The emergency from heaven was never about panic. It was about preparation, and preparation requires courage. Here is a habit you are being asked to break, a pattern of over-explaining yourself, a pattern of seeking reassurance before making decisions you already know are right. That pattern ends now. Archangel Michael is reinforcing your internal authority. You do not need unanimous approval to move forward. You need alignment. April 5th marked the spiritual authorization for you to trust your discernment without apology. There is also restoration unfolding quietly. Something you thought was permanently lost will return in a different form. Not the same structure, not the same dynamic, but the same essence purified. Heaven does not always restore what was. Sometimes it abrades what will be. If something left your life abruptly in recent weeks, do not assume it was failure. It may have been divine filtering. What cannot withstand your elevation must be removed before elevation occurs. And here is something deeper. The person who underestimated your spiritual awareness is beginning to realize their miscalculation. They assumed you were unaware of subtle inconsistencies. They assumed you would continue tolerating imbalance. But your silence was not ignorance. It was observation. Archangel Michael honors those who observe before they act. In the coming days, you will feel a new steadiness. Decisions that once felt heavy will feel lighter. Conversations that once intimidated you will feel manageable. This is not coincidence. This is reinforcement from heaven. April 5th did more than interrupt interference. It activated reinforcement around your confidence. However, do not become careless in this strengthened state. Guard your words carefully. Not everyone needs access to your strategy. Not every idea needs to be announced prematurely. Protect what is forming. There is a seed of opportunity germinating beneath the surface of your current circumstances. It may relate to your work, your home, or a creative idea you have delayed pursuing. This seed will require decisive action within a short window. When the opportunity presents itself, you will recognize it because it will feel aligned, not forced. Archangel Michael's presence ensures that the door meant for you will not be blocked. But you must walk through it. Do not let fear of change disguise itself as wisdom. Sometimes comfort is the most sophisticated form of stagnation. The emergency message carries urgency because hesitation would have prolonged your limitation. But now that you are aware, movement becomes smoother. You will also notice increased dreams or sudden intuitive insights. Write them down. Patterns will emerge. Heaven often speaks in repetition before manifestation. April 5th was a turning key. The door is unlocked. Now you must step through. Stand firm in your boundaries. To become it but clearly. Release what feels expired. Embrace what feels aligned. And remember that protection surrounds you not because you are fragile, but because you are valuable. Archangel Michael is not just defending you. He is escorting you. Your next season does not begin with chaos. It begins with clarity. And clarity is already unfolding. Steadfast soul, now that the veil has begun to lift, you may start noticing how precise the timing of everything truly is. April 5th was not chosen randomly. It represents a spiritual alignment between what has been delayed and what is now being released. Archangel Michael is not only guarding you from interference, he is overseeing transition. There is a transition happening within you before it happens around you. For a long time, you have operated in survival mode without calling it that. You adapted to unpredictability. You became flexible to avoid conflict. You lowered expectations to prevent disappointment. And while those coping mechanisms helped you endure, they were never meant to define your identity. April 5th marked the end of survival mode. And now you are being called into authority mode. Authority does not mean control over others. It means control over your responses, your boundaries, and your spiritual alignment. Archangel Michael's presence signals that you are stepping into a season where hesitation will cost more than boldness. There is a decision approaching that will test whether you truly believe you deserve better. Not better in ego, but better in alignment. You have prayed for increase. You have prayed for clarity. But increase often demands separation from what felt familiar. You may feel a strange mixture of excitement and grief. Excitement for what is opening. Grief for what is closing. This emotional duality is normal. Growth always carries both. Someone in your environment will sense that you are shifting. They may attempt to pull you back into old dynamics, old jokes, old habits, old roles. Pay attention to that attempt. It will not be aggressive. It will be subtle. A casual reminder of who you used to be. But you are not who you used to be. Archangel Michael stands firm because regression is not permitted in this cycle. You have already paid the cost of endurance. You will not repeat lessons you have already passed. There is also financial or practical movement connected to this transition. A resource that seems stuck may begin to move. An approval, a conversation, or a plan that felt delayed may suddenly gain momentum. Do not second-guess progress when it arrives. Sometimes blessings move quickly once resistance is removed. April 5th cleared unseen obstacles. However, you must guard against self-sabotage. When things start aligning, it can feel unfamiliar. You may be tempted to question whether it is too good to be true. A doubt is residue from previous disappointments. Release it consciously. Archangel Michael's involvement means stability accompanies progress. You are not stepping into illusion. You are stepping into refinement. There is also an internal forgiveness that must occur. You have blamed yourself for not recognizing certain red flags sooner. You have replayed conversations in your mind, wishing you had responded differently. But heaven is not accusing you. Heaven is upbraiding you. Forgive yourself for what you did not know before. The emergency message was urgent because prolonged self-doubt would have weakened your authority. But that chapter is closing. In the coming days, you may feel prompted to reorganize your physical space. Clean a room. Rearrange an area. Remove objects tied to old memories. Do not ignore that urge. Physical shifts often mirror spiritual shift. When you create order externally, it strengthens clarity internally. Archangel Michael is not only guarding your future, he is cleansing your atmosphere. You may also receive unexpected communication from someone connected to your past. This interaction will serve as confirmation of how far you have come. Where you once felt intimidated, you will now feel neutral. Where you once sought validation, you will now feel complete. At neutrality is growth. Echo 5 did not just interrupt interference. It recalibrated your self-perception. And here is something powerful. Your obedience in small matters has unlocked larger responsibility. You may soon be entrusted with something that influences others. Advice, leadership, guidance, or an opportunity to speak truth. Do not shrink when that moment arrives. You have been prepared quietly for it. Archangel Michael calls your name not because you are ordinary, but because you are positioned. There will be a moment very soon when you look back at this season and realize that what felt like pressure was actually pruning. What felt like delay was alignment. What felt like isolation was protection. You outrush the unfolding. Allow clarity to settle fully. The emergency from heaven was not chaos. It was correction. And correction always leads to elevation when received with humility. Stand tall. Breathe deeply. Move deliberately. You are no longer reacting to life. You are responding with authority. And heaven is backing your response. Awakened guardian, there is a reason your spirit feels more alert than usual. Since April 5th was activated in the spiritual realm, sensitivity has increased. You are noticing details you once overlooked. You are hearing tones beneath words. You are sensing intention beyond behavior. This heightened awareness is not anxiety. It is refinement. Archangel Michael does not only protect through force, he protects through revelation. And revelation is unfolding layer by layer around you. There is a pattern that is finally becoming undeniable. A cycle you once excused now appears obvious. A dynamic you once tolerated now feels misaligned. This clarity may feel almost uncomfortable because it removes the luxury of pretending everything is fine. But truth is mercy. The emergency from heaven was urgent because delay would have deepened attachment to what was never meant to remain permanent. You may feel the urge to address something directly. A conversation that has been postponed. A boundary that hath been implied but not spoken. Do not fear this moment. Speak calmly. Speak firmly. Do not over-explain. Your authority does not require excessive justification. Archangel Michael is reinforcing your backbone. Not so you become harsh, but so you become steady. Someone will test your firmness gently. They may phrase it as concern. They may disguise it as curiosity. But beneath it is a subtle attempt to measure whether you truly mean what you say. This is where your growth becomes visible. Respond without emotion-driven reaction. Let your peace speak louder than your defense. April 5th separated you from confusion, but now you must maintain that separation intentionally. There is also expansion approaching. Something you have been considering quietly will soon present itself more clearly. It could be a move, a collaboration, a creative project, or a shift in routine. What once felt like a distant thought will begin to look like a realistic possibility. Do not dismiss it prematurely. Archangel Michael's presence ensures that expansion will not destabilize you. It will strengthen you. However, understand this. Growth will require you to release the comfort of being underestimated. There was safety in people expecting less from you. There was ease in not being held to higher standards. But you are being elevated now. Expectations will rise. Responsibility will increase. And you are ready for it. You may also notice that certain distractions lose their appeal. Habits that once consumed your time now feel empty. Conversations that once entertained you now feel shallow. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. The emergency message was about urgency because destiny does not wait indefinitely for readiness. And readiness has arrived. If this message is speaking directly into your current situation, do not remain silent. Like this video so that others who need clarity can find it. Share it with someone who hath been sensing a shift but cannot explain it. Comment what changes you have already noticed since April 5th. Your testimony strengthens others who are still questioning their discernment. Subscribe if you are walking this journey seriously, because consistency in hearing truth sharpens authority. And if you feel called to go deeper, join the membership so you can stand in this atmosphere of spiritual reinforcement regularly. There is more unfolding, and what is coming next connects directly to a hidden factor you have not yet considered. You will want to stay present for this, because the next revelation ties everything together in a way that makes the urgency unmistakable. Back to what is happening now. There is a quiet recalibration of your inner circle. One relationship will either deepen in authenticity or dissolve naturally. Do not force the outcome. Authentic connections strengthen under clarity. Superficial ones weaken. Archangel Michael is not removing people to isolate you. He is refining your environment so your growth is supported, not questioned. Pay attention to your dreams this week. Symbols may appear repeatedly. Water doors, staircases, keys. These are not random images. They represent transition, access, elevation, and authority. Write them down even if they seem insignificant. April 5th with the spiritual unlocking. Now comes the walking. You will also sense increased resistance to procrastination. Tasks you have delayed will begin to feel urgent to complete. This is alignment with momentum. Finish what you start. Clear unfinished responsibilities. Clutter creates space for acceleration. You not allow temporary fatigue to convince you to retreat. Rest when necessary, but do not withdraw from progress. Archangel Michael stands not only as protector, but as escort into your next assignment. The emergency from heaven was about timing, and timing is everything. You are no longer behind. You are precisely where you need to be. Now move accordingly. Radiant One, what is unfolding now is deeper than surface-level change. Since the emergency from heaven was activated on April 5th, invisible rearrangements have been taking place. Not everything shifts loudly. Some of the most powerful moves in your life are happening quietly, beneath the noise of daily routine. Archangel Michael is not only guarding your path, he is overseeing a transfer of authority, a transfer of responsibility, a transfer of influence. You may have noticed that certain situations no longer intimidate you the way they once did. Conversations that used to cause anxiety now feel manageable. Decisions that once felt overwhelming now feel straightforward. This is not coincidence. This is evidence that something within you has strengthened. But strengthening always comes with exposure. Here is a truth that is about to surface fully. You have sensed it partially, but soon it will become undeniable. It concerns someone's true position in your life. Not necessarily an enemy, but not fully aligned either. They have been walking beside you, yet not fully supporting your direction. Their loyalty has been conditional, influenced by convenience rather than conviction. When this truth becomes clear, do not react emotionally. Observe. Absorb. Respond with wisdom. April 5th was the divine alert. Now comes the unveiling. Archangel Michael's presence ensures that when truth is revealed, it does not destroy you. It liberates you. Sometimes the greatest protection is exposure. What remains hidden maintains power. What is revealed loses control. You are stepping into a season where pretense cannot survive around you. Masks will slip. Inconsistencies will become obvious. You will no longer need to investigate. Clarity will present itself. However, here is the challenge. When clarity comes, nostalgia may attempt to soften it. You may remember the good moments. You may question whether you are being too firm. But do not confuse history with destiny. Just because someone was part of your past does not guarantee they are assigned to your future. Archangel Michael is separating attachment from assignment. There is also an internal awakening happening, a realization that you have been underestimating your own spiritual authority. You waited for external validation before trusting your instincts. You sought confirmation from others before making moves you already felt were right. That dependence is dissolving. April 5th marked the end of external dependence. Now you are learning to trust what is confirmed within you. In the coming days, you may feel prompted to withdraw briefly from unnecessary noise. Limit conversations that drain your focus. Reduce exposure to environments that create distraction. This is not isolation. It is recalibration. Archangel Michael often prepares his warriors in quiet before public advancement. There is something significant forming ahead, and you must be clear-minded when it arrives. A new opportunity will surface that requires quick discernment. It may look similar to something you experienced before, but this time the outcome will be different because you are different. Do not allow old fears to dictate new decisions. You will also notice that your patience has deepened. Situations that once triggered immediate reaction now allow you space to pause. That pause is power. It prevents manipulation. It prevents regret. It allows strategy. The emergency from heaven was not to rush you into panic. It was to awaken you into precision. There is a restoration of confidence happening in layers. You may not feel dramatically different overnight, but you will notice subtle boldness in your tone, a steadiness in your posture, a reduction in overthinking. These are signs of spiritual reinforcement. Someone will attempt to revisit an old conversation, hoping to renegotiate a boundary you have already established. Do not reopen what has been settled unless heaven clearly directs you to. Stability requires consistency. Archangel Michael stands firm when you stand firm. April 5th drew a spiritual boundary line. You must maintain it through action. There is also financial or material stabilization approaching. Something that felt uncertain may begin to solidify. This could come through unexpected support, an agreement finalized, or a plan clarified. When it happens, do not attribute it solely to coincidence. Recognize alignment. The emergency message was about timing because provision aligns with obedience. When you move in clarity, resources respond. And here is something powerful. Your influence is expanding quietly. People are observing how you handle this season. Your composure is speaking louder than your words. Even those who doubted you are beginning to reconsider their assumptions. Do not let pride enter your heart. Stay grounded. Gratitude protects elevation. Archangel Michael is not only defending you from what could harm you. He is positioning you for what will honor you. Soon, you will look back at this entire unfolding and realize that the urgency was mercy. The exposure was protection. The separation was alignment. Stand steady. The unveiling is almost complete, and what remains after it will be stronger than what was removed. Anointed listener, the atmosphere around you is no longer the same as it was before April 5th. What once felt foggy is becoming sharp. What once felt delayed is gaining traction. And what once felt uncertain is now demanding a decision. This is not pressure from the world. This is precision from heaven. Archangel Michael is still standing guard, but now his role is shifting from interruption to acceleration. The emergency from heaven was the alarm. What you are experiencing now is the movement that follows obedience. There is a final layer of hesitation being removed from your spirit. You have been cautious, and caution protected you for a season. But now caution must evolve into courage. Not reckless action, but decisive movement. You may notice that opportunities are appearing in clusters. Conversations aligning back to back. Invitations surfacing unexpectedly. Ideas flowing rapidly. This is not random timing. This is alignment catching up with preparation. However, acceleration requires discernment. Not every open door is your assignment. Some doors are distractions dressed as progress. Archangel Michael is sharpening your ability to sense the difference. If something flatters your ego but disturbs your peace, step back. If something challenges your comfort but strengthens your clarity, lean in. April 5th marked a spiritual awakening. Now you are responsible for maintaining that awareness. There is also a truth about your identity that is surfacing more boldly. You are not meant to play small to keep others comfortable. You are not meant to shrink your vision to fit limited environments. You have been called to operate with authority, not apology. Someone who once overlooked you is beginning to recognize your growth. They may approach you differently now, with more respect or curiosity. Do not let their sudden recognition dictate your value. Your value was established before their acknowledgement. Archangel Michael's presence confirms that your elevation is not dependent on human validation. In the coming days, you may feel a strong push to finalize something you have delayed. A document, a decision, a conversation. Complete it. Closure will unlock a new level of peace. Do not carry unfinished matters into your next chapter. The emergency from heaven was about timing because prolonged hesitation would have blocked expansion. But you are no longer hesitating. You will also notice increased spiritual sensitivity. Music may move you differently. Words may resonate more deeply. Silence may feel more powerful than noise. This heightened awareness is a gift. Protect it. Do not drown it in distraction. There is a recalibration happening within your finances or resources. Even if nothing dramatic changes immediately, trust that stabilization has begun. Seeds planted earlier are beginning to take root. Provision often moves quietly before it becomes visible. Archangel Michael is ensuring that your foundation is secure before your platform expands. Someone around you may attempt to subtly compete with your growth. Not openly, but through comparison or indirect comments. Do not engage. Competition is unnecessary when assignment is unique. Stay focused on your path. April 5th separated you from confusion. Now it is separating you from comparison. There is also a reconciliation happening within your heart. You are forgiving without needing apology. You are releasing without needing explanation. This internal freedom is powerful. It removes invisible chains. As you step fully into this new alignment, understand that your obedience has ripple effects. When you respond to heaven's urgency, others are awakened through your courage. This message is not just about your protection. It is about collective elevation. Type "I move with courage" in the comments if you feel the shift within you. Blessing code 8821 is now activated over your next steps. And as this courage rises, hear this clearly. When you sow into this mission, you become part of a river that carries light into places still surrounded by doubt. Scripture declares, "Give, and it will be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." This is not distant history. This is God speaking directly into your obedience. When you release support through Super Thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you are placing oil into the lamp that guides lost souls toward clarity. Say within yourself, "I respond to heaven with action." Your giving becomes a prophetic seed, a declaration that urgency must reach every ear assigned to hear it. Just as fields cannot harvest without seed, this mission cannot expand without faithful hands. As you sow, may doors open over your home, may protection intensify around your loved ones, and may divine acceleration locate your name. This is not a casual moment. It is a sacred one. Stand with this movement. Release your seed. Let heaven multiply what you entrust to it. Beloved warrior, the momentum you are feeling now is not temporary emotion. It is sustained alignment. Since April 5th marked that urgent turning point, the spiritual atmosphere around your life has been recalibrated. What once resisted you is losing its grip. What once delayed you is being rerouted. And what once intimidated you is beginning to look smaller than your authority. Archangel Michael remains present, not as an alarm now, but as reinforcement. The battle that tried to form quietly has already been addressed in the unseen. What you are experiencing now is the visible result of invisible intervention. There is a deep internal shift solidifying within you. You are no longer seeking permission to grow. You are no longer waiting for consensus to move. Something inside you has accepted that obedience to divine timing outweighs approval from people. That acceptance changes everything. You may begin to notice that your conversations are becoming more purposeful. Idle talk feels draining. Meaningless debate feels unnecessary. You are craving depth, clarity, and forward movement. This is not isolation. This is maturity. April 5th awakened discernment, but now discernment is turning into strategy. There is a strategic move approaching that will require both courage and calmness. It may involve stepping into a new role, declining an old offer, or redirecting your energy towards something that once felt risky. The difference now is that fear no longer controls the narrative. Archangel Michael strengthens those who step forward with wisdom, not impulse. Someone from your past may attempt to re-enter your life with polished words. Their tone may sound different. Your approach may seem refined. But pay attention to consistency, not charisma. Change is proven through action, not promises. You are not being asked to become suspicious. You are being asked to remain discerning. There is also a blessing that has been delayed because of timing, not denial. You questioned whether it was ever meant for you. You wondered if you misheard the promise. But heaven does not retract what it assigns. It prepares the environment first. April 5th prepared your environment. Now the blessing can land without being contaminated by confusion. You may notice financial insight sharpening, ideas for increase, smarter management, unexpected connections. Do not dismiss these as coincidence. They are part of the recalibration. Archangel Michael does not only protect your spirit, he guards your pavilion. Emotionally, you are stabilizing in ways you did not expect. Situations that once triggered deep reactions now feel manageable. You are not numb. You are anchored. That anchoring is evidence that the emergency message accomplished its purpose. The urgency was never about panic. It was about positioning. There is also a new sense of responsibility settling on you. You may feel called to guide someone else who is struggling with confusion similar to what you just overcame. Do not underestimate your testimony. What you survived has become someone else's roadmap. However, guard against overextending yourself. You are not responsible for rescuing everyone. Offer wisdom, not self-sacrifice. Archangel Michael stands beside those who serve with boundaries. As the days unfold, you may sense a final attempt of distraction, a sudden inconvenience, a minor conflict, an unexpected emotional trigger. Do not interpret it as regression. It is residue leaving your life. When old energy detaches, it sometimes resists briefly. Stay steady. Do not react impulsively. April 5th sealed a shift that cannot be reversed. You are entering a season where your voice carries more weight. When you speak, people listen differently. When you decide, circumstances align faster. This is not ego. It is authority refined through endurance. Someone who once doubted your resilience will soon witness your stability. They expected you to crumble under pressure. Instead, you became clearer. Archangel Michael honors resilience. You may also feel a desire to simplify your life. Reduce clutter. Limit unnecessary commitments. Protect your time more intentionally. This instinct is correct. Simplicity strengthens focus. The emergency from heaven was about urgency because destiny required immediate awareness. Now that awareness has matured into confidence, and confidence produces movement. Very soon, you will see tangible evidence that this shift was real. A door opening, a conversation resolving, a burden lifting. When it happens, remember this moment. Remember that clarity began the day you chose to listen instead of ignore. You are no longer reacting to hidden forces. You are walking in revealed truth. Archangel Michael is not just defending your path. He is affirming it. Stand firm. The final phase of this unfolding is approaching, and it will confirm everything you sensed from the beginning. Courageous soul, what is happening now is the confirmation phase. Since April 5th sounded the emergency from heaven, everything had been moving toward this moment of visible evidence. What was once sensed internally is about to be validated externally. Archangel Michael did not call your name for drama. He called your name for distinction. Distinction between who you were and who you are becoming. There is a door that is beginning to open, but it does not look the way you imagined. It may appear smaller at first, less impressive, less applauded, but do not underestimate humble beginnings. Some of the greatest assignments arrive quietly. If you evaluate opportunity only by how loud it looks, you may miss how aligned it feels. Archangel Michael guards aligned doors, not glamorous ones. You are stepping into a season where consistency will matter more than intensity. Grand emotional declarations will not carry you forward. Steady action will. This is where many people fall back into old cycles. They crave excitement instead of discipline. But you have matured beyond that. April 5th separated you from confusion. Now it is separating you from inconsistency. Someone near you will observe your new steadiness and feel unsettled. Not because you are wrong, but because your stability exposes their unpredictability. They may attempt to provoke you into reacting the old way. Do not accept the invitation. Calmness is your shield now. Archangel Michael strengthens those who master their reactions. There is also financial restructuring taking place. You may feel prompted to save differently, invest time differently, or prioritize differently. This is divine strategy, not limitation. When heaven prepares to expand you, it teaches you stewardship first. Pay attention to small instructions. A phone call you feel nudged to make. A document you feel urged to review. A conversation you feel prompted to initiate. These small obediences build large outcomes. The emergency message carried urgency because delay would have prolonged stagnation. But stagnation has ended. You are no longer waiting for clarity. You are operating from it. If this journey has been speaking directly into your season, do not watch passively. Like this video so this message reaches others who are standing at their own turning point. Share it with someone who has been sensing spiritual tension but cannot name it. Comment what changed for you after April 5th. Your voice may be the confirmation someone else needs. Subscribe if you are committed to walking in alignment consistently, because what is unfolding is not temporary inspiration. It is sustained transformation. And if you feel called to stand deeper in this atmosphere of protection and revelation, join the membership and become part of a community that moves with purpose. Stay with this, because what comes next ties everything together in a way that leaves no room for doubt. There is a reconciliation forming, but not necessarily with a person. It is reconciliation within yourself. You are finally at peace with the fact that some chapters had a close. You are no longer questioning whether you could have tried harder. You understand now that effort cannot fix misalignment. Archangel Michael did not intervene to preserve comfort. He intervened to preserve destiny. Very soon, a confirming sign will appear. It may come through a sentence spoken unexpectedly, a number repeated, an opportunity that aligns perfectly with something you prayed about months ago. When it appears, you will feel immediate recognition. Do not ignore it. April 5th was the alarm. This is the manifestation. You are also being prepared for increased visibility. Not necessarily public fame, but noticeable influence. Your decisions will impact more than just you. Your example will guide others silently. This requires humility and awareness. Guard your integrity carefully. When influence increases, scrutiny follows. But you are ready. Archangel Michael remains stationed not because danger is looming, but because value is rising. There may be one final emotional test. A moment when you are tempted to doubt the entire shift because something small goes wrong. Do not let a minor inconvenience rewrite a major transformation. Progress is not erased by small obstacles. Stand firm. The emergency from heaven with a gift. It woke you before confusion deepened. It exposed misalignment before damage occurred. It positioned you before promotion arrived. Now you are standing in the evidence. Breathe. Observe. Move wisely. The final confirmation is closer than you think, and when it arrives, you will understand why the urgency could not wait. Watchful one, you have now entered the confirmation corridor. Everything that began as an urgent whisper from heaven on April 5th is crystallizing into undeniable reality. What once felt like spiritual tension now feels like spiritual order. What once felt like uncertainty now feels like alignment settling into place. Archangel Michael is no longer sounding the alarm. He is standing as witness to your transition. There is a deep internal calm forming within you. Not excitement, not adrenaline. Calm authority. The kind of steadiness that does not need applause to feel validated. This calm is your evidence that the shift was authentic. You may look around and realize that certain people have naturally distanced themselves. There was no dramatic ending, no explosive confrontation, just quiet separation. That is how divine filtering often works. When alignment increases, incompatibility fades without chaos. Do not chase what exits peacefully. April 5th drew a line, and anything unwilling to cross into your new level remained behind. There is also a conversation approaching that will confirm what you sensed weeks ago. It may not be confrontational. It may not even be direct. But between the lines, truth will be unmistakable. Listen carefully. Respond slowly. Let wisdom lead, not emotion. Archangel Michael strengthens discernment in moments like these. You will know when to speak and when to stay silent. Something else is shifting as well. Your perception of yourself has changed. You are no longer seeing your past mistakes as proof of inadequacy. You are seeing them as preparation. Regret is losing its grip. Shame is dissolving. You are standing straighter, not because everything is perfect, but because you understand your authority. The emergency from heaven was not about external danger. It was about internal awakening, and that awakening is now complete. Very soon, a tangible sign of progress will appear. It could be an approval you have been waiting for, a door opening that once seemed sealed, a reconciliation of circumstances that once felt permanently broken. When it happens, it will not shock you. It will affirm you, because deep down, you already know. April 5th with the pivot. Everything since then has been unfolding according to design. However, remain vigilant. Elevation attracts observation. Not all observers are critics, but some will study your movement closely. Maintain humility. Maintain integrity. Let your actions speak louder than your explanations. Archangel Michael's presence does not eliminate responsibility. It strengthens it. There may also be an invitation presented to you that requires stepping slightly beyond your comfort zone. It may involve leadership, visibility, or responsibility you once avoided. Do not retreat. You are not the same person who hesitated before. You have been fortified. Trust the growth that has occurred. Emotionally, you are lighter. The weight that once pressed on your thoughts has lifted. You may not even remember when it disappeared. That is how gradual healing works. One day you wake up and realize you are no longer carrying what once consumed you. April 5th initiated that release. There is also a restoration of joy happening quietly. Simple things are beginning to feel meaningful again. Creativity is returning. Laughter feels genuine. This is not accidental. When confusion leaves, space is created for peace. Archangel Michael did not only fight battles. He restores balance. Someone who doubted your resilience may soon acknowledge your strength, either directly or indirectly. Accept it graciously, but do not depend on it. Your validation comes from alignment, not applause. As this chapter closes, recognize what you have learned. You learned that urgency from heaven is mercy. You learned that exposure is protection. You learned that separation is not always loss. Most importantly, you learned that when your name is called, obedience matters. The final unfolding is near. One more layer remains before everything is sealed with clarity. And when that final layer reveals itself, there will be no more questions. Stand steady. Archangel Michael remains near, not because danger lingers, but because destiny is being finalized. What began as an emergency is ending as establishment. And you are standing exactly where you were meant to stand. Chosen and sealed soul. This is the final unveiling. What began as an emergency from heaven on April 5th was never about panic. It was about positioning. And now you can see it clearly. The confusion that once surrounded you has dissolved. The tension that once pressed on your decisions has lifted. The uncertainty that once whispered doubt hath been silenced. Archangel Michael called your name because destiny required your attention. Look at what has changed. You are no longer second-guessing every step. You are no longer shrinking to maintain fragile peace. You are no longer tolerating subtle misalignment just to avoid confrontation. Something inside you has solidified. Your spirit stands upright. April 5th with the interruption. Today is the establishment. There was an unseen battle that never fully reached you because it was stopped in the spiritual realm. There was confusion that could have deepened but was cut short. There was a delay that could have lasted longer but was overridden. You were warned because you were valued. Archangel Michael does not mobilize without purpose. Now the purpose is evident. You have stepped into clarity. You have embraced discernment. You have allowed separation where necessary. And because you responded instead of ignoring the urgency, acceleration followed. One final confirmation is approaching. It will seal everything. It may come as a breakthrough conversation, an unexpected approval, a sudden peace about a major decision, or a door opening that once seemed permanently closed. When it arrives, you will not feel shock. You will feel recognition. Because your spirit was prepared in advance. This is what divine urgency accomplishes. It prepares you before the shift so that when the shift comes, you stand stable instead of shaken. There is also restoration attached to this ending. What was drained will be replenished. What felt lost will be compensated in a new form. What felt delayed will move with unusual speed. Do not cling to old versions of blessings. New forms are arriving. Archangel Michael's assignment over your life in this season was protection and positioning. Protection from hidden interference. Positioning for visible elevation. You may notice that your environment feels lighter now. Conversations flow differently. Your home feels calmer. Your thoughts feel clear. This is not imagination. This is spiritual order restored. But remember this. Clarity must be maintained. Continue guarding your peace. Continue honoring your discernment. Continue acting with courage when alignment requires it. The emergency phase may be complete, but stewardship of this new level has just begun. Someone watching you quietly will be impacted by your transformation. They may never say it out loud, but your obedience shifted more than your own life. It created a ripple. And that ripple is still expanding. Type IT is established in the comments if you feel the completion of this shift. Blessing code 7303 is now sealed over your household and your next season. As this establishment settles over you, hear this final call clearly. The same urgency that rescued you is still reaching for others. Scripture declares, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." This is not a distant verse. This is God speaking into this very moment. When you release support through Super Thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you are pouring oil into a lamp that refuses to go out. Say it boldly within yourself. I answer the call to keep the light burning. Your giving is not a donation. It is a prophetic act. It is seed cast into fertile ground so that confused hearts can find clarity just as you did. When you sow, you partner with heaven's urgency. When you give, you declare that no soul assigned to hear this message will miss it. As you release your seed, may open heavens respond over your finances. May protection deepen around your family. May acceleration follow your obedience. Do not hesitate in this moment. Act with faith. Stand with this mission. Ignite the harvest.